Americans will have until March 31st to either sign up or be enrolled in a health plan.
But what happens if you do not comply, especially since the website will not even be fixed for at least another month? Let's bring in the judge, Judge Andrew Napolitano, Fox's senior judicial analyst. Judge, great to see you.
Ali, Bill, it's a pleasure to be with you.
Okay, so if you don't sign up and you don't pay the fine, which is going to be somewhere between $100 and $700 based on your income, then what happens?
Ali, I have to correct you. According to the Supreme Court, it's not a fine, remember? It's a tax. Even though the government did not argue that it was a tax, and even though the people challenging did not argue that it was a tax, the Supreme Court has called it a tax. And because it's a tax, you have to pay it first and then seek your refund. This is insane. So people are going to have an additional tax bill. They must pay that tax bill and then petition the IRS. You see, like this, begging the IRS to have that money paid back to them because there was no insurance policy made available at the time the tax was due.
That's because of Judge Roberts' ruling. Is that what you're saying?
It's because of the Supreme Court's ruling that it's called a tax, but a tax is treated differently than a penalty. If you or I speed and we are to be punished for the speeding, we have points assessed and we pay a fine. That doesn't happen until after there's a trial and we're found guilty. But if you or I owe a tax and we think it's too much, we pay the tax first and get the money back later. That's exactly what will happen to these unfortunate individuals who will not be able to obtain insurance coverage because Obamacare doesn't work, because the computer system couldn't get them through the insurance carrier, and because the deadline passed.
So it's like garnishing your wages.
Well, it is the moral equivalent of garnishing your wages, yes, because if you owe the tax and don't pay it, your employer will collect that tax by taking it out of money that will otherwise go to you and sending it to the IRS.
Judge, help me with something. You get your tax return, after mid-April, let's say.
Right.
But the only way for the government to collect this tax, this fee, this penalty, is if you are owed a tax refund, correct?
I don't know the answer to that, Bill, because the IRS has not yet released.
They can send you a bill.
They can send you a bill.
Or they can withhold money that you are rightfully owed.
We don't know if they can withhold money from your income because you owe the government for the failure to obtain health care. They have not yet made a decision on that.
So the collection process of this is something we haven't determined.
Correct. But the standard IRS collection process is if you have a dispute with the government over what you owe, you pay the money first and then ask for it back. You don't hold on to the money and make them come and take it from you.
And so if somehow you get out of paying the tax first, then are you breaking the law?
Yes. Yes, I mean, the Obamacare has created an impossible conundrum for millions of Americans who have lost their insurance policy, who have lost their doctor, and who can't even log onto the computer system to get a new insurance policy and a new doctor, and the date quickly arriving by which they must do so or have an increase in their tax bill.
I mean, that's a lawsuit, right?
It's a major lawsuit. So if you want me to sound a little bit like Varney, it's fodder for the plaintiff's lawyers, yes. But it's still going to leave a lot of good, hard-working, mainly blue-collar Americans in limbo, owing a tax bill and not having insurance.
Judge Andrew Napolitano, always great to get your expertise.
We'll see whether or not the 31st of March sticks. The White House says it will, but we'll see in the end if that's the case.
Yes, we will. Pleasure, guys.
Thank you, Judge. Getting gnarly.